Guru Nation, how's it going? Welcome back. I got yet another stock that I did a little bit of due diligence on, and we're gonna go in depth on this stock on as a group with a doctor, couple technical analysts on our other channel, the Clinical Research Circle. So go make sure you subscribe. We'll probably do that one. We'll probably cover this one this week as well. But I just wanted to give you a quick preview. This company, PRVB, so this is the 1 year chart. It's basically it's been between 11, 6, it dipped to 6 in March 2020, and then its high was about $18, and now it's trading at 12. So it's like right in between. Well, Yahoo has a 1 year target estimate of $29.43. That doesn't mean much to me. This is what means something to me is this PDUFA priority review by the FDA for type 1 diabetes. There's a couple reasons why I like this stock. First of all, they have good things in the pipeline, and we're going to go look at it right now. And let's see what they're all about and what they have and what makes it kind of exciting for me. So, with the advent of immunomodulatory therapy, chronic autoimmune disease can be disrupted and ultimately prevented once we know what signs to look for. So, this company focuses on seeking out asymptomatic disease and genetic risk early at points where intercepting autoimmune disease is possible. So their leading candidate is for type 1 diabetes. Okay, we have purposefully created a pipeline of candidates that target upstream autoimmune pathways and even viral triggers with the goal of intercepting and preventing life-threatening and debilitating immune-mediated diseases, including type 1 diabetes, celiac disease, and lupus. I've done a little bit, again, guys and gals, this is not financial advice, okay? I mean, don't follow what I do. All right. Just the point of this is to do some due diligence for myself and then to give you ideas to go after and do your own due diligence on these companies. And for some of you loyal Guru Nation viewers, here's another small cap biotech. All right. It's just under $1 billion. That's small cap, $780 million. Right? Market cap right now. You've got look at the contact, okay? You've got the chief medical officer's email and phone number on clinicaltrials.gov. So I don't know. Maybe it's good for networking as well and possibly landing careers and all those kind of things. All right. All that good stuff that Guru Nation's about. But back to the stock. Okay, so intercept and prevent before it happens. The goal is to intercept autoimmunity early to modify disease development and reduce chronic morbidity. So we have, like we discussed, okay, we've got the prevention PRV 101. It's to prevent healthy individuals with genetic risk. This is the pipeline. This is the prevention one. Okay, they're expect top line phase 1 first in human data at the end of this year. There's one for newly diagnosed, which is expected to complete enrollment in the phase 3 in the second half of 2021. And then there's a delay onset in at-risk patients. These are the different type 1 diabetes clinical programs. You got vaccination, PRV 101. You have stage 1 autoantibodies. And then you have the at-risk study, and then you have the newly diagnosed and symptomatic. Type 1 diabetes, high disease burden, unmet need in the US. Genetically predisposed autoimmune disease, newly diagnosed type 1 diabetes is an orphan indication. So they're using a T cell approach to potentially intercept type 1 diabetes and delay onset. The mechanism of action is humanized monoclonal antibody, binds to T cell co-receptor CD3, acts as a partial agonist, administered as a 30-minute IV infusion over a 12-day or 14-day outpatient treatment. The clinical data so far, over 800 patients dosed across multiple clinical studies, consistent slowdown of C-peptide decline, right? And we're going to look a little bit at what that is. Again, you got to go down your own rabbit hole and learn this stuff. At-risk study results significantly delayed type 1 diabetes onset. So the at-risk study, clinical type 1 diabetes was delayed by 3 years. The ones who were on teplizumab, 59.6 months, placebo, 24.4 months. Single day, one subject yet to develop clinical diabetes, greater than 8.5 years from start of treatment. Improvement in C-peptide translated to improved higher insulin secretion, improved lower glucose levels. 33% of the subjects with blood bone marrow AEs. Um, so that's a safety, that's a potential safety issue there. Derm was the next. So dermatology AE, 16% of the subjects. Pain, 5% of the subjects. Infection, 5%. GI issues, 4%. Metabolic, 4%. So the opportunity to intercept type 1 diabetes in thousands of newly diagnosed patients in the U.S. 64,000 new cases of type 1 diabetes in the US per year, ages 8 to 17, potential for market launch. Okay, this is the one that's getting the PDUFA on July 2nd. Is this particular one is interesting to me. Let me just break down the problem for you before we look into the PRV 3279, because there is a lot, I think a lot of opportunities here, and it hasn't even started human trials yet. And if you want to ride the wave of gene therapy explosion, this could be a sneaky candidate. So PRVB just released some preclinical data about a drug that prevents immunogenicity for the AAV vector used in most upcoming gene therapies. In short, and shout out to you, the Foos from Reddit, for doing the due diligence. In short, the biggest issue with gene therapies right now is that people receiving them need to receive chemotherapy drugs to suppress their immune systems. This is to prevent the development of antibodies against the AAV virus vector. There is also a possible need to receive additional chemo down the line if the patient begins developing antibody titers. Appears to specifically target the AAV B cells, which possibly negates the need for chemo. If this pans out, it can become a standard medication for every AAV based gene therapy, which are most of them. So this is why this one's important too. I know we have the PDUFA July 2nd, but if you're looking like, even if that one doesn't get approved, and then the other two for type 1 diabetes for some reason don't get approved either, maybe for safety issues. I mean, I don't know. You have to do the due diligence. Uh, you have this potential candidate, which is coming in at the right time with gene therapy exploding. ARC-G, I know we just did a video on ARC-G last week. ARC-G is investing in gene therapy. They predict like 100x increase in the market cap for gene therapy companies. So PRVB is a good play for that, at least in the mouse model so far. 3279 is currently being used in a phase 2 study. It's going to commence in the second half of this year for systemic lupus. But they're also finding that it's a adjunct to AAV gene therapy. So intercept autoimmune diseases, this is one potential application. Prevent immunogenicity of a variety of therapeutic proteins and gene therapy vectors, AAV. So shout out to uh, the person on Reddit for doing the due diligence on that. That's a potential diamond in the rough there. And then so they've got the lupus study, and they've got other things in the pipeline as well. They've got lupus, and then they've got celiac disease, which is in phase 2B. PRV 101. They expect top line phase 1 first in human data for the vaccine. So a lot of interesting stuff. I mean, we're very early for the vaccine and for the AAV gene therapy adjunct, right? We're very early for that. We're somewhat early for systemic lupus, but this does have a big upcoming catalyst for the type 1 diabetes at risk vaccine candidate for type 1 diabetes and celiac disease. The phase 1 first in human study started in December 2020. First in human data is expected in the Q4 of 2021. So going to be a busy year for Provention Bio. This is their balance sheet, 121.8 million in cash, cash equivalents, and marketable securities. Net loss for the year was 98.6 million. And this is the corporate team headed by Ashley Palmer and Francisco Leon. both co-founders. One is chief executive officer, the other chief scientific officer. Co-founders have a pretty good background. Mr. Palmer was previously CEO of Ino Therapeutics, bought by Icaria and then by Mallinckrodt. At Ino took inhaled NO for neonatal hypoxia through phase 3 development, approval, and launch. Sales reached 250 million in first 2 years. Executive chairman and co-founder of Cell Immune, focused on celiac disease, later sold to Amgen. The other co-founder, chief scientific officer Francisco Leon, basic and clinical immunologist by training, drug developer at Bristol Myers, pre-AZ MedImmune, and Centocor Janssen with 20 years of experience, more than 20 years experience and 5 years, 5 drugs on the market. Co-founded Cell Immune, focused on celiac disease as CEO and CMO. Here's the catalyst coming up. PDUFA date for at-risk indication, July 2nd, exactly 4 months from now. So there's no rush really to get into this one. You got 4 months to wait for the catalyst. Plenty of time to do due diligence. I really think this application for the AAV gene therapy is a hidden gem. And obviously, the market potential for type 1 diabetes in at risk and newly diagnosed patients is huge. I like the fact that they're niche in this regard. They're not trying to do it all. And that's my take on them. So PRVB, do your homework, do your due diligence. This is just something to get you to explore, to get your beak wet a little bit. And let me know what you think. This is not financial advice. This is just to get the wheels in your head spinning and maybe get some interest cultivated. It's interesting science nonetheless. The fact that it's autoimmune and there's some gene therapy applications, kind of exciting in this kind of a market. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Take care.